All right. State of the Galaxy. So there was a bunch of questions that people asked. And so what I wanted to do was just answer all the questions that we were asked. So I'm just going to kind of burn through them and see if this is helpful. Question 1. There are many tracks in the database which lack proper rules and need to be fixed. How will these issues be resolved? Will the community get to decide on new rules and vote on them? Does Twin Galaxies get to decide the new rules? What if Twin Galaxies comes up with rules and the community doesn't agree with them? These are burning questions that they need to be answered. Okay. First of all, there's a general conceptual issue with having a standing track that has scores on it and changing the rules on that track. Because the implication is anybody new coming to the track will be under the impression that the scores that were recorded were under the rules that they're viewing, when in fact that would not actually be the case. And so what do you do in a scenario like that? I'm actually, I have an opinion and a direction, but I'm actually interested as being part of the community and participating on the scoreboard. Do you actually want it to be possible for the stated rules of a track to suddenly change and then the track just kind of keeps going with the changed rules? Because your assumption at that point is all the scores on the track applied to those rules too, and you're competing on a fair, even landscape. But really, you wouldn't be. You'd be playing with a different rule set, an additional rule, whatever it is that the people before you didn't have. But you wouldn't necessarily know that. So what do you guys think? You think that that sort of thing should be possible, or are you more comfortable knowing that is not ever possible? You never have to question a track and wonder whether someone's score was achieved somehow with a different rule set, however slightly altered, compared to the one that you're trying to use.
It's like changing the rules after the game started. That's my opinion.
That's all I'm saying. That's right. So what do you think there, Captain? Mr. Sroka?
Oh, you got to change. At that point, you got to. There needs to be, if people really don't like the way that's where the new track would come in, or new people would compete a different way with a new different set of rules, and the old track would, I think you've said this before, would kind of fade away in interest and wouldn't be removed. It just would die as terms of new competition.
Well, yes. So I mean, there are solutions, but let's isolate it. Just point blank, yes or no. Do you want a Twin Galaxies where the rule set, after established and has accepted scores, can change on that track? Yes or no?
No.
Anybody else in the chat? What's up, TG Live 5? What do you say? Yes or no?
So I say yes, but with a very strong caveat. So there are some tracks, historically it's been played a certain way. I could give an example for one of my own, but I know there are others. So for Shinobi, based on the scores, NES Shinobi, the current high score on that. And previous high scores I saw in the database, I thought, well, this must have been played one life only.
So fast.
There's no life limit on it, but presumably
you can do it.
It died off and kept going. So I played it with one life only, and so as far as I know, everyone in the database up to that point has been playing it with one life only. So I'm not saying necessarily that, but just as an example, based on the scores, we kind of know how people have played it in the past, or it's a game famous enough that we know, like for example, Donkey Kong, the glitch is okay where you hop up next to Donkey Kong and just score points on the girder stage, that kind of thing.
Yes,
so I think
but I ask you, you kind of know You kind of know, but
Right.
what if it's a track you've never seen before? Okay? You come up to a track that you've never seen before, but you want to compete on it. And you see 100 scores on that track. Now you know Twin Galaxies has a policy where the rules on that track may or may have not changed, not once, but multiple times during the recording of those 100 scores. There's no way for you to know that. Does that
Right.
bother you?
Yeah, I know. I totally agree there. So I would say if it's a clarification of existing rules, it makes the existing established rules clear how they've been adjudicated in the past, both with refs and if it's a clear case, I think there are instances where the rules should be possible to be clarified. But I agree with you. If scores were set and we're not sure, then it should be left as is, or clarified only so much so that it is differentiated from a new score track, just for clarity.
So here's the thing. While I can understand specific case scenarios where modifying the rules might not be problematic, I also think if you open the door for that conversation, it creates an infinite black hole of, well, you made that change there, why not make this change over here? Well, why can't it becomes a nebula, a galaxy within the Twin Galaxies of a whole bunch of potential special case scenarios and arguments revolving around rule changing on existing tracks. And so this is why, personally, I lean towards saying, what's done is done. They have been, this Twin Galaxies did not make all of those tracks in the past. Didn't make them. They are what they are. Scores are coming in on them as they came in on them, right? New tracks coming into the new Twin Galaxies will be done in a different way. Will come into existence in a different way. But does new Twin Galaxies go back and start tweaking old Twin Galaxies stuff? It's interesting perspectives. I'm seeing in the text chat, most people. So TV Vendor Swag says, so the messed up tracks shouldn't be fixed. See, now here's the thing. I don't think you can fix a track that is messed up because it's already messed up and there are already scores on it. You can't fix it. The only thing you can do logically is replace the track, but not fix it. Because there were already a bunch of people who looked at the rules as they were and they spent time and submitted against that rule set. You can't look at those people and their efforts and just say, oh well, we discovered a glitch and now we're just going to change that. And no, I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem very fair. It seems like it should stand as it stands, and a different solution and approach might make more sense. So,
What about score or tracks where no one has put a score on it yet? Would that be open?
well, based on the solution that I want to implement, it won't matter. So, because to me, this gets into the whole adding new tracks scenario. I believe that it's like it's like survival of the fittest. Tracks are like survival of the fittest. If you have a fit track that's exciting for people, that people compete on, it will live, it thrives, it survives. If it's got some sort of inherent problem, that problem is only exposed to the extent that there is a better solution available to use. So if there isn't a better solution, then it doesn't matter that there's a problem with the track because there's no other better solution than that track. But the minute you're able to create a track that addresses the problems better, then that's a more interesting track to compete on. And what will naturally happen is people will just start using the new track,
That's what I'm saying.
and the old track just starts dying and becoming irrelevant in terms of the way people regard it. Like to me, a perfect example it would be you have a track that's got 100 scores on it, and it's an old track.
Let me give you one for that actually happened. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Me competing on Sonic the Hedgehog. Back in the day, they had Sonic the Hedgehog. They had a broken rule set. They never put a limit on lives. So what happened? Everybody maxed the score up to 999,000. Do you think people submit anymore on that score? No. They submit on the new rule set that made it more competitive, 5 lives only. So
Right.
Twin Galaxies has done this in the past with the referee system. So, that I think that completely supports your argument there.
Well, I'm just picturing you have an old track that's got a lot of huge historic scores, right? Then someone points out today, well, there's actually a glitch in this game where you can basically leech points a ton. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'm just letting you know that. And then you realize, oh, maybe these high scores that were recorded, these guys use that leeching technique, but it's not been really documented, so no one really knew. So then you go, well, let's just modify the track and say you can't leech, right? Well, you modify the track and you say you can't leech that way. You may not ever be able to attain the scores that are already in the database because the people who attain those scores actually did it by doing that glitch, and now you've added this rule to that track that says you can't do that without realizing that the other people in the past had been doing that. And so it then makes it impossible for those people on that track to ever achieve, and it also makes you think, if you're a new competitor, that those scores somehow were attained without using that leech glitch. Right, because that's all you see. You're like, God, this guy got all these points, and these are the rules. I don't know how he did it. So that's why I say, we'll let the tracks be. Some of them can still be fun. You can still do stuff with them, and we have a system where we can create new tracks that are exciting, that can contain all the latest knowledge for the rules, and sort of grow from that direction. Okay, so let us move forward. Because I'm lingering.
I actually
Okay.
had a quick question while
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
finding the next one. So it's a related question, which is I think a lot of people are worried about the cost associated with when the new track adjudication system. I'm not using the right word there, but
Yeah.
when new tracks can be added and you pay for them with submission points. I think a lot of people are worried about what the potential cost of those will be and how that cost structure will work.
Yes.
Is it going to be 100 submission points to submit a new track, or 5? Or I realize it's probably not settled yet, but what
Well,
would be
here's what's
maybe?
interesting. Like any economy, you're always worried about the cost of things. The new iPhone 7's coming. How much is that going to cost? So that's natural. The goal. One of the goals is that it's got to be expensive enough to limit just random, wanton track creation. And generally, you're going to want multiple people contributing money, quote unquote, towards the track to bring it into existence. Certainly, looking at the statistics, which I'll get into later, there are those of you who have accumulated enough submission points to single-handedly bring tracks into existence, but that's an expensive commitment for that one person to make. They're trading a lot of adjudication time to bring a track into the reality, and so it's certainly, the pricing is certainly well still within some of you richer guys and gals on the site to single-handedly do it. You could do a few, you couldn't do 100 tracks, but but that will be something that initially we'll have some sort of fixed price, but then we're going to figure out over time a way for a market, for market pricing. I saw this really interesting idea on the Twin Galaxies site that someone brought up. The idea of tracks being investments, and if you can create a track that really gets a lot of activity and people playing on it, it yields you more submission points because you like. I thought that was really interesting to be like. You could just have a whole existence on Twin Galaxies as creating the most interesting tracks that people want to compete on, and you're like, I don't know. I think there's something there to explore down the road.
I want to invest in TGL market.
Data God says, Jace, you didn't give us the answer. You got, what is the answer that you're looking for?
Just something for the cost, I think, is like ballpark figure, like 20 points, 100
I
points.
don't know the answer because we're still in the middle of implementing the system, and to price it, I have to take a snapshot of the entire economy of Twin Galaxies internally. It's like, and picture this way, you're making a loaf of bread and you're trying to figure out how much you should price it in the market, and the year is 1921. So you have to look at the entire economy and go, okay, this loaf of bread should cost 3 cents, right? If it's the year 2015, it's $6. So you've got to, I don't have that information because it's in a fluid motion. So don't know. You want it accessible, but you also want it to be limiting. We'll find the right balance. But the best part is the community will be able to bring its own tracks into existence at the speed that it wants to, and that will keep Twin Galaxies super current with all new games and mobile games and all this other stuff. All right.
Donkey Kong speedrun.
All right, so let me start moving through these questions a little faster. The adjudication list for voting scores is way too long and it's confusing because all the scores are mixed together with each other. Could they be listed under certain categories? Okay, this is a byproduct of just not knowing how to use the advanced search properly. You can break the list down with the search in pretty much any way that you can think of. I was actually on the Donkey Kong forum talking to the guys over there about it and showing them where they're like, well, I can't list MAME. Well, it turns out they're typing M period AIM, A period M period. Just don't do that. Just get rid of the periods. Just type in MAME into the advanced search. It'll pull up only MAME. If you want just Game Boy, just type in, it'll pull up in the advanced search only the right things. You don't need, now in the future, we will do some work to create some simple segmentation, but literally the functionality that you want is to be able to get only what you want is just an advanced search away. It's just typing it in. It actually can do that. I can show you here. Look, if you here, we'll go to the site. Let me log in. And then we'll go to search, right? We'll go with the adjudication forum and go into submission review. And see here, over here, so it says search forum. You can type it there. Like if I type in, Game Boy right here and just hit enter, it's only going to show me just the Game Boy submissions. That's all that's come up, right? So that's all you have to do to see this stuff. Okay, let me move on. Moving on. Okay. Okay. Whenever I get a like on a forum post in my personal email, it'll say who liked my post. However, when I log into TG, it never says. It says it's hidden content. That doesn't make any sense, and it should be fixed. Let me explain. For the time being, when you like or thank a post, other people on the site can see that it was liked or you got a thanks, but they can't see like that you did that, or that like they can't. This is to just prevent any. It's just like a preventative measure. your liking and thanking is anonymous except to the person who received the thanks, because you do get an email that says that this person thanked you or liked your post. But on the site, it's hidden so that other people can't, I don't know, man. Like, let's say someone writes something and then you like it, but then someone else thinks that what was written was like against them. And since you liked it, now they're mad at you too, because they can see your name because you wrote like. It's just stuff like that. It's silly, silly stuff. But that's why it's hidden on the public-facing thing, but you get the information privately. Hope that made sense. And there you go. Moving on. What if a person submits a record which is actually lower than the current record in the database? Will the lower score replace the higher one? Has the system been designed for such a situation? So the idea is you have rank 2, and then you submit another score, and then you get, it's supposed to be rank 3, or like it's lower than the one that you have. Is it going to delete your rank 2 score and only put in your rank 3 score? It will. Good question.
Could you clarify that, Jace? Does that mean the player wants to lower their score on the database?
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
I just want to make sure we're thinking straight here. Okay.
That's what it is. It's like I've got the number 2 position. I've just submitted a score that would be number 6, and so I want to lower my position. I think what it will do.
I can't help you with that.
I think it actually will lower your position.
Oh,
Sweet.
I think it will. Because it's only going to let you have one record, one ranking. You can't have 2 rankings. And so it will probably take your higher one out of there and put your lower one in there.
Well, actually, one instance I could think he is going for low scores. So,
Listen, here's the thing: is since Twin Galaxies now can track an infinite number of ranks underneath each game, I mean, it doesn't. If you want to do that, I guess. That's what will happen. All right. Moving on. I see some people with no username, and it's just like a small open circle thing. I don't get why this is possible. Yeah, neither do I. Actually, it's a bug in the style sheets of the site, and fixing it is actually more complicated than it would seem. So it's on the list to be fixed. It's just other things are getting in the way. Do you want us to spend time fixing that, or adding community track addition, stuff like that? So it's a bug. What you're seeing there is a bug, and it's random, and it bothers me out of my mind. But we have these other big things to add, and so it's just pushed back. Moving on. Could Twin Galaxies make somewhat of a better deal with Guinness in the World Record book? Because to me, it seems like the World Record section is lacking. Relative to the whole book, the TG score section is pretty small, and it doesn't really have pictures of players and interviews and other such things, and the first part of the book does. Okay. The new relationship we have with Guinness is hopeful to address this issue specifically. So they want to have. Part of the reason why Twin Galaxies is essentially becoming this clearinghouse of video game records for Guinness is so that they can spend less time trying to find records and spend more time on the editorial content surrounding the achievers of the records. And that's why it's important to be verified in Twin Galaxies, because we have your name, address, phone number, so Guinness can reach out and say, hey, we want to profile you for the score here. All of that is part of the system. I'm supposed to fly out to London to go out to Guinness soon. And we're going to sort some of these items out. But they are aware of this, and we are too, and this is on the list. It's one of the big reasons why it's important to send your scores to Twin Galaxies. Send your scores to wherever else that you want, MARP or whatever, that's fine. But Twin Galaxies is working to be the place for worldwide recognition and validation for your achievements in video gaming, and this of course is part of it. So let's move forward here. Wait, I'm going to stop and read the chat for a second. Let's see. You guys bash low scores in the topic, but I kid a car score tracking, so most scores have a low score. And you have more than one score on the same track. You can only have one. Your name and only can appear. You can only be ranked once on a track. How does MK Wizard keep getting verified? Listen, you know what goes into getting verified. Name, phone number, address. So this dude literally is using all of his friends. Like you have to understand, the point of having your name is so that it's like your name. You're the one. You are the one who got the achievement. You're the one in Guinness. It's your name. What good is setting up a false account under someone else's name? It's not you. It's not like you get, recognition. Like no one's gonna. Think of it this way: that guy might as well just claim that he's somebody in the database, and just say, "Oh yeah, that's my name there in third place on Mike Tyson or whatever." Just say that. Why even go through the process of creating another name? It doesn't matter. It's not you. You're just making up some character. I don't know. It's silly. But in any case, the whole MK Wizard stuff is has been handled behind the scenes in terms of banning and all the technology behind sort of getting control over that. And just don't worry about it too much. Like, the main thing is think of it this way. Let's say he creates a whole nother verified account and he submits a legitimate score. John Smith got a good score here. Great, good for John Smith. I mean, if the performance is valid, the performance is valid. It's going to go under John Smith's name. So I don't know. It's very strange. Okay, moving on. When a person submits a score into the database, there needs to be an indication of what placement that player is intending to get. If it's a world record, then it must say world record on the adjudication message submission. Why? Because I need to know. I need to know what people are going for. Okay, listen. You can't know. We have scores coming in. There could be multiple scores coming in on the same track. It's dynamic. There could be something that adjudicates before this score. You can't know exactly. But we did add to the submission form the track. So right when you see the submission, underneath it, it shows you what track it's going for. All you got to do is click there, and you can look yourself to see.
That's super helpful, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, but that was a direct response to you guys wanting to see that. So, other than that, there's no real way to do it. You can't say. I mean, think of it this way. Let's say it says this is going for the world record, and then you're trying to vote on that, but then someone else submits something and it gets adjudicated faster, and it's the world record, and so it lied to you. So then now I'm going to get emails. Oh, this lied to me. You said it. So I understand that you want to know the stakes involved potentially. So the best we can do is always make sure with every submission there's a link to the actual track that they're trying to go in, and you can look for yourself where the score will generally land. Moving on. When can we expect the ability to add new tracks? That's a good question. We are working as fast as humanly possible. We just got in to the system the ability for admins to add new tracks. So that, for instance, so we can kick off some basic mobile tracks for iOS and Android and that sort of stuff. And because we needed to build that system first that can interface with the database properly before we then build a more complex structure on top that has the community pushing stuff into the database. So they're tied together. We literally just got done with the first part, and now the second part we're on. So just give us a little time here. It's not months away, so there's a lot to do. just know that there's bug fixes. As you know, we've been responding to scoreboard errors and all this other stuff. So, we're constantly trying to improve and iron out any issues that way, and that takes time. And then this ability is top priority, for the community to be able to add tracks, because I think when that happens, site activity is going to go even higher. It's already high. Site activity is constantly increasing, which is why there's way more emails and questions that we get of fixing things and finding things. And okay, but then once people can add tracks, propose tracks, have rules discussions and all this other stuff, it's going to be ridiculous. So we're working on it. It is top of the list. Next, will we be getting high score tables for other less obvious things? Yes, like credibility bounties. What I want to have, because we are a generally competitive group, is the ability to see who has the highest credibility, who's got the most submission points, what's the leaderboard on site activity, like some sort of layout, so that you can see, so that there's even fun in tracking that. If you want to compete in that, who has the most right adjudications, whatever that stuff is. Barthex has the highest credibility, right? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. But we should. But see, that's the thing. That's a good question, Starcritus. We should have a display of that, and we're gonna. You'll see us adding more and more Facebook-like things to the site to encourage more interaction. Right now, we have people working on a wall, kind of like a Facebook wall for your account. So then you log in, you have your own homepage wall thing, and then you can track whatever conversations you want, and it will appear on your wall and that sort of thing. So we'll see. Moving on. Status on the TG wiki. Okay, so Twin Galaxies actually has a built-in wiki system that's all installed. It's just not turned on yet. It plays into the credibility system because you don't want uncredible people touching a wiki. There's all these in and out points, and we're not quite ready to turn on the wiki. But the TG wiki is really designed to be a player wiki, right? Imagine a wiki that has all the video game players, what they are good at, what they've accomplished, the historical tournaments they've won, the stuff they've done. That just would be totally cool. You look up Don Atreides or something, and you're like, oh, look at there he is. And so there's that. It'll also have other functions, instructional functions, which I'm seeing some of the community build off-site on a separate wiki. But just please be patient, man. It's only been 60 or something days since we've launched the new system. We will be getting high score. Oh, wait. I already got that. Is TG still planning on providing a section that showcases the current live Twitch streamers within the community? Yes. There's already a section of TG that has Twitch streamers in it, but it's not front-facing because all of the front-facing stuff hasn't been implemented yet. But ideally, what we want to have on the page always that you can find is our community's players who are streaming, and if they're live, in a quick click will take you straight to their stream. It's not super hard to implement, but we just haven't gotten to it because of all the other things in the way. So I hope that answers that. Are you the only one who uses Ustream for streaming? Probably. Okay, that's the end of the questions. All right. So with those questions covered, let's open up the forum to any additional questions or concerns that did not cover. Anybody got anything? Anyone? Nothing. Zero. Will there be a multi-submission feature? Man. That's a whole technical... Not for a while. The answer is not for a while. You'll see milliseconds on the time field. Okay, yes. So here's the thing. most games do not deal in thousandths of a second. And there are a few that do, like what, Gran Turismo. And the problem is if we make it accept thousandths of a second, people will mistakenly enter their time for timed games, not realizing they need to put it into thousandths of a second format. And so every time score coming in will like have a 0 in front of it, you know? Except, of course, the Gran Turismo scores, which will be exactly what the game says. It has 3. So that's the challenge. Star Critus, we fixed the decimal issue. All of that added 0 stuff has been fixed. But it comes at a cost of like things like Gran Turismo. I think what we're going to have to do is special case the 1000th position games on the submissions sheet. Now,
Hi, Jace.
hey, what's up? So the issue, it would be really helpful if the community started a thread and listed all of the games that have 1000th places, because there's not a lot of them, but there's some of them. And then we could maybe go in and create special cases just for those games so that the scores can be entered properly. So, I mean, because if we're going to do it like for Gran Turismo, we should probably do it for whichever other obvious ones people know about and then do that. So we could do that. Now, Rudy mentioned speed runs. Yeah, speed runs have serious timing depth. And so when we start, once we finish and finalize our policy on speed runs, we will definitely have a mechanism to deal with that. Definitely. Well, Star Critus, you better check again. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay. Let's see, what else?
Hey, Jace, my pecs are getting bigger.
Well, you know what? That's because you're doing push-ups every day. You're probably up to 3,000 push-ups a day now, Chester.
Oh, I am. You are right, sir.
Does anybody else have any other questions, or should I get out of your faces so that you can get back to some scorekeeping? I just keep encouraging you guys, keep submitting. Even if you're not number 1 at something, it doesn't matter. Get ranked. I'm telling you, just get ranked on as many games as you possibly can. Get on the board in as many areas as you can, as much as you can, while you can. Because I'm telling you, when we move to the point where Twin Galaxies is running commercials, right? You just picture the Nike Just Do It or Gatorade commercial where it's reaching out to the gamer and saying, come and get ranked, right? It's gonna, the influx of people coming to just get ranked, see how they stand in the world relative, it's going to make, you get in there now, because there's gonna be a lot of people coming in and they're gonna push your little crappy score all the way to the bottom when you know what I mean? It's just trust me on this. You're gonna continue to see an escalated expenditure towards Twin Galaxies, towards player achievement, helping people in general. The best way to think of it is, you know, you have something like Instagram where you're taking pictures of yourself all the time or your food or whatever, and it's like this, it's a selfie. And then Instagram and Facebook is this platform for you to share your selfies and show everybody your selfies, right? So Twin Galaxies is sort of the mechanism that can capture your gamer life selfie with skill. It can capture your accomplishments, your achievements, validate publicly that they are legitimate, and then provide a platform that you can use to pump that message out to all your friends and family and anybody else or the news media and be credible. So, you know, I think a gamer is kind of like this, or a video game enthusiast is like this 3-dimensional entity. That's their performance, that's who they, then there's who they are just physically in terms of like pictures of them, and then there's their socially, their experience, and how they play in the community. So you're gonna see Twin Galaxies working towards facilitating that message. being this platform for players to achieve and project their achievement out into the world in a meaningful way. And so, of course, at some point you have to see the Gatorade style commercial, the interview with a player on Jimmy Kimmel, and we're going to be including mobile phone people, like accomplishments and all that. So get on the board. Get on the board. Let's see.
Jace, I had two ideas that may be horrible, but I thought I'd bring them up.
Let's hear it.
So one is allowing people to pay actual money for a new track to generate money for TG. Like I said, it might be horrible. I don't know. And the other one was the idea of an auction system. So you mentioned the economy's very fluid. We don't know what it's going to be. What if Twin Galaxies released a track for like the Sega Genesis, and then it came down and everyone could basically bid on the generic track and then turn it into a track that they want. I just something to think about. Might be a horrible idea, but
No, I mean, look, I'm trying to keep money out of it, because then the rich people get to dominate the non-rich people when you can buy things with money. And the other thing is, because right now everything inside of Twin Galaxies is earned. Everybody's earned their keep, and when they're putting up a track, they've freaking earned it, right? And I want to make sure that when you sponsor a track in and other players put their submission points against it, the top contributors to that track are immortalized in the founding of that track, right? You see your name, that becomes another credit underneath your world record holding, all this other stuff. But I do eventually see an interesting kind of marketplace. One of the discussions that came up on the site just related to the fact that right now there's one way to earn money, and that's adjudicating, and there's only one way to spend money, and that's submitting. And so that limits the scope and the feel of the economy. As more items are added to Twin Galaxies that allow you to, quote, earn money, submission points, it will allow Twin Galaxies to express a differentiated value of what you're doing versus what you're getting. So maybe when you adjudicate, you get more points because it's a very valuable thing. But if you upload a picture into the database for a track that's sitting there that doesn't have a picture for it, right? Maybe you get less. Maybe you get one submission point for that. And the minute we're able to express different values for different activities, we'll also be able to express different ways to spend the value instead of just one way, which is submissions. Just bear with us because this is a baby economy, and we're just testing the fundamental tenets of it as it grows.
just one quick addendum to that auction idea, again, which may be horrible, but the idea that maybe people submit tracks for a certain price, they get thrown into basically a pool, and then people can vote them up toward the top using submission points. So the ones at the top, once they hit a certain mark or something, I don't know. Just maybe, I'm thinking the auction idea might help because of the economy being so fluid.
Right. Well, right now what will happen is, let's say you want to create a Sonic track that Mike Soroka can't possibly do well at, right? Like, so it's just rules that he can't handle. It's the whole track is designed so that Mike Soroka can't remotely contemplate the Sonic track. Okay, so for right now, let's just say that to create the track, it costs 100 submission points, right? But for it to become a real track, you can put a certain amount of submission points against it. So you fill out your form and define the track, and you put 5 submission points against it, right? And then it goes up into the market, essentially, and everybody who wants to see that track come into existence can put money against it to hit the 100, right? And so the large contributors to it will become immortalized founders of the track, and then the track, once it hits 100 submission points, becomes real, and then Mike Soroka simply never can beat the track because it was designed to completely defeat him. Right, Mike?
That's cool. I'm cool with that. Anything to support competition.
And then, so we'll see how it works out. Obviously, it's going to be there's going to be a feedback loop there for the community to say what's working and what's not working, and but we got to get new tracks into the system, and I'm excited about that. And so it's definitely like top priority, because when you really think about what does Twin Galaxies need in terms of the big picture, it needs the ability for new tracks to come in, great. It needs the ability to question tracks from the past, a system to deal with issues that have just plagued the database, right? Okay, great. Functionally past that, the minute you're able to, we can adjudicate, we can add tracks, we can remove tracks. That's the core. The core will be there, and then we shake out all the bugs and issues surrounding the core, and then we can just build on top of that all of the cool nicety, extra things that will make the platform, the social platform of Twin Galaxies, just grow, and and then there's all the licensing discussions for because there's all these conversations where people want to make the T-shirts, the hats, the Twin Galaxies Letterman's jacket, all the cool player athletics, video game player athletic wear and material, the certificates, yada yada yada. So there you go. I think I'm gonna be done in 3 minutes. So if you have any other questions, anything, now is the time to ask them. And that's what Flying Car said. Jerseys. We need to get some Twin Galaxies jerseys. Different style, the Twin Galaxies jerseys. See, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need those.
Yes, sign me up.
Yep. The question is do you make them only available to people at certain credibility levels? Ooh, you got to earn it. You can't just have one. You have to at least have. You have to be ranked on something. It's top 100 in some game somewhere. Pick a Candy Crush. Fun stuff. Who will win the Super Bowl? Does the second law of thermodynamics prevent the bug crunch? No. The second law of thermodynamics prevents my thermal underwear from being dynamic. That's what that does. You understand?
I think you meant the big crunch.
Oh, right. When making changes to the interface on the website, I hope you guys are liking the changes. It's getting better. Still bugs. Working on it. If you look at our member list, it should look a little more like Facebook. See, look it. I just went there. See, you can add friends and stuff. And you can add, see, people need to put their pictures in. You got to put your pictures in. What are you guys doing? See, you'll put your pictures in. What? If you put your pictures in, you will when the Facebook wall stuff starts coming in, you'll be like, oh, I need a picture. See, right now it doesn't work well. It's not right. It doesn't look right. It's not right. All right, I think I'm going to be out of here in 53 seconds. This is the State of the Galaxy. And I'll be back in 2 weeks. And hopefully we'll have made more progress, engineering progress. And we'll have some other cool things to announce and to show you. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully, the submissions are going crazy. Do you realize that there's been, the sheer vastness of the adjudications that have been happening has eclipsed the old Twin Galaxies by an order of magnitude. I wasn't there for the previous eras, but man, Mike Soroka, you were there, right? Well, I guess.
Huh?
What?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm getting cut off. I'm out.
Okay.
It's over.
Good.
Dang, you can get bumped too?
I'm bumped, man.
What?
The
Dang.
network. the
That's
network.
brutal.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later. All right.
Have a good one, man.
All right. Cool.
Bye, Don.
See ya.
Good show.
See ya.